Hello and welcome to another episode of the Fntasia podcast. My name is Levin2K and I'm joined by three lovely people from the Fortnite community today. We have the big dog Reese Hub. We have Boop NL Coach Boop, who doesn't coach anymore. Back in, his OG setup. No more of this, Dubai sugar daddy stuff.
The sugar daddy didn't want to pay out anymore, man. I wasn't performing the service required.
And then, of course, we are joined by our NA delegate, TS.
Keeping the NA rep strong. Don't worry, guys.
Of course. Don't ask us where Coach Harry is. We don't know. We just don't know. Don't ask us.
Rumors are around. I wouldn't want to spread any rumors about where Coach Harry is.
He could be anywhere. He could be with us now in spirit.
He could be.
He's in our hearts. That's the most.
He's in our hearts, guys.
He is in our hearts.
Condolences to Coach Harry, everyone.
Yeah,
he's in a better place.
Yeah, he's up there somewhere.
Or down there somewhere. We don't know. I don't know. He doesn't.
Yeah. Hey, look, we don't know. We can't see it.
Yeah,
the man's got many things to do.
Sidetrack completely from Fortnite. Those are my favorite tweets. You know when people are like, "Oh yeah, he's looking up right now. He's looking up at us right now." I'm like, hold on a minute. Like,
it's like the same ones where it's like, unfortunately, 11-2K has been found alive.
Yeah. Same exact.
I'm gonna make one of those tweets today. That's actually a good idea.
Same exact vibes, man. Look, we have a new Fortnite season upon us. We have the Simpsons season. It's here. We, for the most part, knew this was coming for quite a while because of leaks. And I'm sure all of you have already seen, played, watched, so we won't get maybe into the nitty-gritties of details of the season. If that's what you came here for, there's so much content for that. But I just want to flat out get to the reality of it, because we had a mini season this year in the Star Wars season that was very, very unpopular for a lot of people outside of Reese and Destiny Jesus.
I was still shit, right?
Okay.
Don't get me wrong.
Okay.
But we just played a lot. They're very different, right?
Okay. Good. We have that distinction. Are you guys having fun? Are we enjoying this mini season?
Yes.
Absolutely. Yes. I mean, I'll just sort of say I was wrong. I think that's what most people had for the season as well. It's like, you heard the Simpsons season was coming out. You had the PTSD coming in from Star Wars season. You thought, I've been hurt once before, they're going to hurt me again. And then they come out with an absolute fucking banger of a season. I don't know. It's weird because the actual gameplay and mechanics of the season haven't really changed much. Thunder Shotgun, it's normal ARs, nothing too crazy. Yeah. But it's something about the colors just brings life and happiness into my heart when playing Fortnite. Except when he gets the final moving, then it looks like a piece of shit. But when you play a regular game around, dude, it's so nice to have lights and colors and not have the whole game be dark as hell.
Yes, Epic Games. I know you listen to this. I know you listen to fucking watch every video there is out there, because you keep changing things based on my videos. Anyway, keep the brightness. Keep the brightness.
Yeah.
I am old. I cannot see. My eyes do not work.
Yeah. Exactly.
When it goes nighttime, through all of Chapter 6, bro, when it goes nighttime, I might as well be playing my eyes closed. I'm just using my ears and visual audio to try and shoot stuff. Is impossible. This season is the vision, gorgeous. The fact that I can jump into a ranked and at daytime, nighttime, I can see other players. I love it. Do that every single time.
I agree. I'm a simple creature. I just want to get a dopamine rush because I like bright colors, just get my neurons firing. And that is like the one thing this season has. Like, there's some like flaws with this season, but like overall, it's just like, it just feels like Fortnite. It just looks like Fortnite, and it makes it so much more enjoyable, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And one thing you said, Boop, this is something I'm going to do a full video on this, which sounds like a really boring ass video. But the fact that the Sentinel pump is gone.
Oh,
chef's kiss, bro. I hate a high structure damage pump, right? Because the one thing I've noticed now about this season is you can make a good edit. You can make an edit with a right hand and a peek and swing into it or jump into it. And the other player can't just take your wall when you do it. It's like you have the ability to make a good edit and not just lose the wall straight away, which is beautiful, right? If you watch any fight this season, everyone's playing like the most not the worst players, like the most annoying player to fight against, a little middle window where they're hugging to the left and just like peek into it and get shot, Like, I love it. I love the fact that the Sentinel's gone. The only thing I don't like about the hammer pump, thunder pump, yeah, the thunder.
Every half a second.
Mate, the pull-out, that sucks, actually. The pull-out time is so long. I feel like you're punished even more for making a 50-50 edit now, right? Because, like, say you made a big edit, you could shoot before they even notice, and then you could reset. Like, if you're, like, people go really quick. Yep. Now, if you do, like, a top row edit, you're sitting pulling out your gun for, like, it's, like, 60% longer or something, so they can shoot you in that time. So, like, now you're even more incentivized to actually make a good edit and make like a good peak rather than, previously where if you did that, they could take your wall, or if you did it before, you could just like do a 50-50 edit and shoot. And it feels so much. I love that fighting, man. It feels way better.
See, the thing is, your pillow game might be weak, Reese, but I feel like mine. I feel like it feels kind of the same. I don't really feel that much of a difference. Low-key,
yeah, you're old, bro. I guarantee when you edit, bro, you're like, where's my shotgun button?
Nah, that's
the top row's open. You're looking down.
You're supposed to play the Reese attack shotgun clip that he puts on Twitter, man. Like,
I'm flying, bro. Look at me flying now. I'm absolutely zooming. I'm just missing.
It's not that horrible. I don't know. Maybe I'm just like liking the new shotgun. The only problem with that shotgun though is the reload. I've just noticed I am all for reloading. Every single time, like reload. Oh, I'm out of shotgun bullets. Reload. Yeah. I've even seen it with like pros watching scrims and stuff. Like people are struggling with a different type of meta. But other than that, like, I don't think there's much to complain about. Everyone was doomsaying on Twitter, like, oh, the league could. Even I was like, it's all bad, but there's not really much to complain about for a 30-day season. If I'm being honest.
Well, yeah, before we get onto like maybe some more like specifics to do with meta and stuff like that, I wanted to get into understanding why we all feel this way, because I agree. I've enjoyed it. I jumped on, played. I'm not gonna lie, I've not played as much as I wanted to, purely because the days where I had time to play, I kept getting kicked off the game, which wasn't great. But if anything, I was like, damn, Fortnite still got motion, man. Clearly there's too much going on. They can't even handle the bandwidth is too much. I don't know the technical problems as to why I was getting booted off the game, but it's vibrant, it's fun. I actually was enjoying playing, and it didn't feel too different. And I think that was one of the first things that I was like, okay, they've done something really good here, because they've balanced not making it feel too different, in that the Star Wars season, like, all the weapons are different, and so like the actual gunplay and everything was super, different to what we're used to from Fortnite. The gunplay feels familiar, but everything else around feels different in a good way. Yeah. Which I think is like the perfect combination to make like a fun little season like this. Why do you guys think this is working? Why do you guys think people are enjoying this? And then how does this compare? Actually, that's a more loaded question I'll ask after. But like, why do you think people are receiving this better? Because I think from the conversations I had with people at Epic before going into it, I was like, hey man, I don't know what you guys are cooking up, but that Star Wars season was buns. If you guys mess this up again, it's not looking good, bruv. Like,
what we're saying is the whole reason this season is good is because Levin was sitting there being like,
no.
Cheeks, guys.
Not at all. It was already set in stone by then. I was like saying, hey guys, I know this is already coming. It better be good.
I think,
and they've made it good.
What I'll say is there's a few different things. The first is the actual commitment to it. Whereas the mini season before with the Star Wars was like, we've added 3 POIs and a bunch of weapons. One that's just like the crappiest shotgun of all time that does 150 structure and 150 body shot. It's like that was obviously. And then if you played pubs, there was like annoying vehicles like the Starship Destroyer that in the middle of the map just came down and just destroyed like half of the map. Like, that's not fun to play. I understand like they're like, oh, this is cool aspect of that, the spectacle, but like that gets old really quick. The vehicles are always annoying. The fact they got like I forgot the names of them. I've totally blanked. Flying through the sky every single game. You have to TIE fighter, thank you, and X-wings flying through the sky every single game. It's just like annoying. The actual gameplay wasn't good, and it didn't feel like a massive commitment, because basically it was a couple POIs, couple items, couple weapons. It felt more like like an update than like an actual mini season dedicated to something. This, they've committed. They've gotten a whole new map. it's good. The actual map itself it's clearly thought care. There's new mechanics with like the windows and stuff. By the way, I was playing yesterday 3 times. DJ was his first time playing. He was like, I love these windows. They're so good. You can just walk right through these guys. He just loves the windows, man. I was like, I don't know what the love for it was. But yeah, I think number one, the main thing is the commitment to it. Like the fact they've actually gone hard into it and just given us something completely new, completely fresh, whilst having the same like Fortnite feeling. Because again, the core mechanics are the same. People love Fortnite. They just need something new and interesting.
Yeah, I would agree. I think the Star Wars season in like many ways felt like filler. They're just like, it wasn't that same level of commitment. It didn't feel like, like they put in so much effort. They really brought Star Wars to life on Fortnite. It seems like they just like went in UEFN, slapped a couple Star Wars assets on the map, some TIE fighters, some X-Wings, added 3 POIs, kind of edited Shoguns to be a 4th POI, and it didn't feel like there was really effort there. Also, all the POIs they added were on the edge of the map. You never even like really interacted with them if you didn't land there. It didn't feel like they really put in that work to make the Star Wars season really great. On top of that, from this like a bottom to like top end like competitive analysis, I think the showdowns were like a pretty meh format. I think having like the bottom tier players be excited over victory cups gets everyone else excited. It's sort of like bring like a rising tide lifts all boats sort of thing, where it's like because those bottom tier players are excited, like I can make $100, I can like make something happen. That gets like everyone else grinding too, because they're like, oh, I gotta play Fortnite again. And then because the map is like this full committed thing that they've put so much effort into, you actually want to play that battle royale. You actually want to play ranked. So I think it's kind of like that perfect storm.
Boop. Do you think there's any? I saw a tweet from, I don't know who it was from. I think it was just like a random person in like the comments or something. But I felt they were hitting a nail in the head. And they basically said part of why the Simpsons seasons is working is because them collabing with the Simpsons is new. It's novel. They've not done it before. Whereas like even when you look at the Star Wars thing, because they'd done things with the Star Wars before, it was like there isn't that feeling of like, oh, Star Wars and Fortnite, like this is new, this is cool. We've never seen this before. Like we've seen it before in parts, right? Like, do you feel like that played a part in it?
Not really. I feel like the Star Wars thing. I don't know what the popularity is of Simpsons versus Star Wars. I would be surprised if Star Wars wasn't more popular than Simpsons. I think as a franchise, I think Simpsons probably a little bit less popular. But I don't think that's the reason particularly. I think the main reason why this has so much success is basically because it felt new, right? Like you don't have. So when we imagine they put just Simpsons POIs into the current Chapter 6 map, it'd be like, okay, cool, we added 1 POI, which is what they usually do with a lot of the sort of things that they do, right? They have the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Underground part. They had this collaboration that they added, like a Demon Hunter theme with some items. Like that doesn't get someone excited, but like being able to load into an entire world and being able to like Simpsons might not be more popular than Star Wars, but I think it's like a art style that's so recognizable. There's like when you load into Fortnite and you see that intro, you're like, holy shit, I'm in The Simpsons right now, right? And then you can go into YouTube and you can see the things that you're playing in Fortnite. I think that sort of link to something that is something a little bit more tangible to what you can watch in media, I think gets people a little bit more excited about it. Alongside that, it's also, I think, one of the biggest things that I felt like, at least playing it, it's like, so people are going to a lot of people are just going to play Fortnite to play Fortnite. And then they're going to decide after playing that first game whether they're going to continue playing Fortnite to keep the player numbers up. So when they play a game of Fortnite and what they realize is that the map is smaller and then basically there's a whole lot more action in the mid game, that makes it more fun. And I got to quote my boy Reese here with the TikTokified Fortnite a little bit more now, right? The games are quicker. There's a lot more fighting. There's not a lot of dead time, which I felt like playing a game of ranked in Chapter 6 was fucking torture because you kill someone off the POI and then you're just running for 20 minutes. In Star Wars and Simpsons season, I landed my POI, I get third partied, I rotate, there's another guy fighting. Like it's continuous action, continuous fighting. And that's, it's hitting all the dopamine receptors or seeing these bright ass colors. So I think those things combined are probably one of the main reasons why this one's just doing as better. It's just you're not in the downtime. You're not, running through the same shit that you've seen the whole time again. So It's just fun. You know?
I think that's actually going to be a bigger contributor, and it begs the question: is this going to be something that's good, like a good idea, continuously going forward?
Yeah.
Smaller maps, less players. I'll say TBC on how it is for like high level competitive. What it looks like for an FNCS, because we don't really know for that. But I have almost no issues with that for ranked, for pubs and all that. Just playing a smaller map with less people, because it is just better. Like it's just more fun. That's it. And I said back at the Pro-Am earlier in the year, my feedback. I think I either said this. Was it this podcast? I said, I can't remember.
You said it on a million episodes.
A million
of the
podcasts.
Now,
I say it again. The fucking best part about that, I was like, a good comp mode would be reload without the respawns, because it's faster. It's like a blitz mode basically. Yeah. And this is kind of what we're having. There's no how many players does Apex have in a game? It's not 100. 60, right?
60.
The 100 players of BR is like kind of arbitrary. It's just like, oh, we'll just have 100. It's like, why can't it be 80 and be smaller? Like, there's no real reason why it can't. It's just that we've gotten used to doing 100.
Well, look, when I used to play
100, I think.
When I used to play Minecraft Hunger Games as a kid, it was like 30 people in the Hunger Games, or like 25, and those games were so much fun. So,
and it's been like the pace of the match, even if the matches are dead, because it's still ranked. Like, if the match will still die out, it still is what it is.
Third zone,
there's like, you still get to a fight faster, and you still get to do something. It's fundamentally just less boring.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. Before I say the next thing I was going to say, I wanted to call Boop out because I was watching his stream. I think I'll give you credit. It was before the season started. It was like your waiting room stream. But Boop had a stinky take on his waiting room stream. And he basically was saying, I was full just like lurk hate watching. Yeah. And Boop was like, I think you said something along the lines of like, it was when everybody was being skeptical of The Simpsons, right? And you were like, I think you said something like, The Simpsons isn't like more popular than South Park and Family Guy or something like that. Like you ranked it, you were like, it's South Park, Family Guy, Simpsons, and then American Dad.
It was with the Fortnite audience though, like contribute to the Fortnite. Like what would Fortnite kids be more attracted to in those three shows?
I think you underestimate how popular The Simpsons is. Like The Simpsons is so popular. Like
is it popular Simpsons, with the Zoomer culture though?
The Simpsons is just
a Boomer TV show.
The Simpsons is just, to be fair, yes, you're right. I do reckon nowadays the amount of kids watching The Simpsons is much less than what it once was. But The Simpsons is just too popular and too accessible. Like, and just so recognizable in a way that like those other shows just aren't. But yeah, just wanted to call you out.
The context, like I said, I said in the context of Fortnite kids, I feel like if you pulled which TV show Fortnite kids have watched more, South Park, Simpsons, or Family Guy, I feel like the two that are the most graphic, which are South Park and Family Guy, are probably more popular with like the 10 to 15-year-old audience than The Simpsons. I
think you're still wrong, and I think you're still wrong, and I think we are understating how wide Fortnite spans in terms of appeal.
True. Yeah. That too.
Like the appeal of how big, like how many people and types of people are interested in Fortnite is like, that's the thing we always all do. Like, the kids, because like that's how we think. And this is a lot of kids, don't get me wrong. But I think Fortnite's appeal is so wide that like when you have something as big as The Simpsons, it just beats everything. One thing I was really interested that Fortnite tweeted, and I felt like it was like, it seems like they're trying to fight their corner a bit here with this tweet. They said on the official Fortnite account, they said, in 48 hours, we welcomed the biggest number of new and returning Fortnite players since the last holiday season. The first Simpsons, the Fortnite short, popped to #1 on Disney Plus today in the US. Move over Shelbyville. Lots of people coming back to the game.
There are, playing. But it's like, that's like being like, man, this is the best lunch I had since yesterday. You're kind of categorizing it. Obviously, it's really good that a lot of players come back. I'm not trying to hate on that side, but and the player numbers are really good right now. That's great. But last year, comparison wise, I think let me actually open the comparison to see of actual player counts. Let me see player counts.
It's looking not great.
Pretty stark.
Yeah, like
pretty drastic.
It's not. Yeah, like I mean, obviously the big event last year was like over 14 million, but like during the throwback season last year, it was at like 4 million players peak, and it's peaked this time is 2.6, like highest. So you're like, it's been the highest since this year, basically, is what it is, which is great. Like that's amazing.
But that's the whole point of the season, no? Like when you're doing something like this, it's like this is how we're bringing in new players before we get into the next chapter.
Which is great. That's a good idea.
It felt like it just felt like it came from a place of everybody was saying this shit was gonna be buns. Look, we have people playing,
Yeah. They've been on a hate watch with leakers lately too. Like I know a lot of the Epic employees just fucking hate the leakers. And the thing is, the leakers are like the main marketing thing for Fortnite a lot of the time, right? So they're the ones dooms posting a whole season. That affects their business as well. So I think that was probably directed at like a lot of the leakers that was saying that this was going to be shit. I do think that like peak numbers is a bit of a misleading statistic though, because
100%.
it doesn't really matter what the peak is, right? Like that's great. Oh my god, we hit a 40 million peak, but like it's about retention most of the time. And I think if let's say 25 days into the season, we still have a higher retention than Chapter 6, then I think something's gone positive, and we've got a net growth, I think, in the Fortnite ecosystem community. Which would then, when it comes to Chapter 7 and whatever's extending Chapter 7, that might bring the peak back up again, right? Like you just have a core player base. If you can increase the core player base, it's always good for business. So, I mean, even if you look at like the 40 million peak, 15 days later, it was at 3 million, right? And then a little bit lower towards 2 million afterwards, a few weeks later as well. So, the percentage of retention there is quite low. But if we have a 2.6 million peak and then 1.5 million people play, dude, we're retaining like 80% of the players who came back. That's a huge success, I think, as a metric for like a game company.
100%. And what was the wording of that tweet again? It was new accounts made. Was that what it was, Levin?
It was the biggest number of new and returning Fortnite players.
Right. Okay.
That's crazy, actually.
So I would say, like, to add on to that point, I think it's like very interesting, like the evolution Fortnite has had in terms of like player count, where it's like originally the thing that really brought in like player count was live events. It was like these spectacles.
Yeah. And
as time has gone on, the way Fortnite does events to bring in players has shifted from live events into just like seasons that are events. Think of like the first OG season. That was an event in of itself. Everyone had to be there. Then OG season 2. They already tried to do this year with like the Fortnitemares. They tried to turn that into an event. It kind of didn't work. And then this season is clearly like them trying to like, it's 1 month long. This is your only chance to ever play on this map. This is an event. I think it's a very interesting evolution. And I don't know how it's going to keep working if you keep just being forced to make every season into its own like major event, because at some point you start to get like diminishing returns. If every season is a Fortnite event, is it really, So I'm curious how that's going to keep working in the future, because it kind of seems like this is like their core strategy now as to like how to bring back their player base, which is kind of shocking because I thought like Steal the Brain Rot was supposed to bring us to the moon. I don't know.
Maybe this is a weird comparison, especially because I'm not from America, but at least how this has been described to me. Like Crumble Cookie? What I'm about to say is fully based off of Kanada's description of Crumble Cookie to me. So he's a big fan of Crumble Cookie, which is terrible for you, by the way. And he was like, when I talked to him about it, he was like, yeah, bro, like they have like these new flavors like every week. And so like, I'm just eating Crumble Cookie every week because I want to try these new flavors, And it's like, maybe there's the same sort of thing there where it's like, in their world, if every season is an event, you now always have a reason to keep coming back to the game because there's always a new flavor. There's always something new.
And to build off that, they're doing that in Reload too. Every 20 minutes, it's a new Reload map. It's constantly cycling through map. They're constantly trying to give you something new, something to give you that dopamine rush. I think you hit the nail on the head with that Crumble analogy.
It's weird though, because it's like, I wonder, I was going to ask you guys, how does this season and what they've done here compared to what they've done the past 2 years to you? Obviously it's easy to look at just like player numbers, right, and say well, not as many people, so clearly it's not as good. But like when you look at how they've gone about things, the actual experience itself, you know, some of the marketing, blah, 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 whatever, like the things that matter to you, like how does it compare to the last two we've had?
I think this is just way better, right? And obviously, I think it's good you said not including player counts and player numbers, right?
Because you can include that if you want, but just
yeah,
like...
but well, I'm specifically going to say, because I think the player counts we've had the last 2 years, obviously I was, you know, memeing about the fact that they said it's, you know, the highest player count or retention this year, or since the last Christmas period. But the last two high peaks we've had are kind of false peaks, because it's like, hey, we've taken Chapter 1 map back. Obviously, everyone was going to play that 2 years ago. Then it was like, hey, we're going back to the Chapter 2 map. Obviously, everyone's going to play that again. So, like, those huge inflations of player numbers are something that was, you know, just purely based on nostalgia. And the one thing about nostalgia is that, you know, that is not going to last forever. Very true, as the, you know, the OG playlist has been back for this entire year. And obviously, there's been people who play it, but it's not retained like this insane player counts that I had previously. With what they've done with the Simpsons season this year, I think is like something that's repeatable now, but obviously in a different fashion, right? Next year, like, what massive collab can they do to do like a full month on that they're going to commit a massive, you know, the whole map, do this exact same thing in a way that players will really enjoy. So, you know, in comparing it to the last years, I think this is way better, because maybe it's not going to have those high peaks because of nostalgia, but at the same time, you have now like a formula that is proven to be successful that you can repeat year on year. You know, that if you do right, people will be interested in it.
So I was someone that was critical of the way that they brought back OG after the Chapter 2 remix thing, because they brought it back as a continuous game mode, and I thought that was like a huge mistake, because you kind of lose out on those player bases that come back for the nostalgia, right? You lose that sort of trump card every single year to bring back like a huge influx of numbers. I still think that was a mistake that they brought back OG as like a big thing, because, you know, you could always have it in the back of your pocket. But the way that they approach it now is, I think they probably benefit more also on a monetary basis, because I don't think those returning players would even spend money on like new skins and stuff. But you sort of leverage this IP that you just gained from the huge Disney deal that they just signed. Like, you're able to repeat this and do it and sort of grab fans from every part of, you know, the pop culture universe, and then they'll, you know, slowly trickle down into becoming the Fortnite core player base, right? So instead of trickling down from nostalgic players, which, you know, they are getting older, maybe they wouldn't really like the new type of Fortnite more, you're pulling from other types of things what might have a little bit more success. And it's a formula, like you said, Riz. I think it's easy. I think they figured it out now, because you've got this deal with Disney, you know? Number one, Simpsons is Disney now, right? I think it's Fox and Disney, I think, own it.
Yep.
You know, you got Pirates of the Caribbean, you got the Marvel Cinematic Universe, you got you know, like nostalgic, like Cinderella, all those things. Like, you can do anything, and you'll have a completely new audience you can tap into.
Are you logging on for the Disney princess season, Boop?
Bro is going crazy on the Frozen season.
You know, killing some dwarves or something. Like, you know, that's Sleeping Beauty. But yeah, hell yeah. I'll crank 90s in the Cinderella dress. Hell yeah, man. But, like, you know what I mean, right? Like, you tap into these people that just probably never want to try Fortnite. It's like, hey, dude, this is literally my favorite TV show. I love The Simpsons. I can walk into The Simpsons world. Like, where else can you do that? You know, like, walk into the world of Simpsons and play a video game.
Hit and run, man.
Everything.
Bring back Simpsons hit and run.
From this decade, Reese. Come on.
Yeah.
Remaster hit and run.
They have to remaster that shit. That shit was peak.
Yeah.
But, like, you know, this is the first time since Hit and Run, and I think, you know, there's probably a big audience that have played that as well that are coming back. So there's plenty to do. There's plenty to build on. And this is just something that's just not going to get old, because you're not bringing back OG. You're not bringing back something from past time. You're bringing back something. You're adding something, creating something that's completely new every few months now. So I hope this is the strategy that they stick with. And the biggest question is, what's like the next one they're going to pick from the whole category of Disney IPs? Like, there's so much to choose from, right? But you know everything's coming at some point. So they've got like 10 years of content set, you know? Like, that makes the future of Fortnite, I think, quite exciting, because, like, they're never going to run out of ideas now every 3 months when they add a mini season. But maybe they want to do it more. I don't know.
No, I was just thinking about the Mickey Mouse season.
That's every season.
Oh yeah, Mickey Mouse.
Watch OC Fortnite. Or
I think to add on to your point, Boop, I think what really makes this mini season so great is that, like, it is like I'm walking into The Simpsons, but it also still has that Fortnite feel.
Yeah,
and so even if you aren't someone that likes The Simpsons, it's still good Fortnite gameplay. It still feels like Fortnite. It's got like that Fortnite look to it. It's just they integrated The Simpsons so well into it where it's like, if you're a fan of The Simpsons, there's something for you. You can go into Evergreen Terrace. You can find all these little Easter eggs about The Simpsons everywhere on the map. There's really good detail. But if you're someone that like doesn't really care about The Simpsons, there's still a good map. It's still a detailed map. It's still like at its core Fortnite and that like core Fortnite game loop, which is why I think it's like such a perfect collab.
I think this is going to be one of those seasons that's going to feel nostalgic in like a year from now. It's like, man, I miss the Simpsons season. You know, like that shit was fun.
They don't make the mini seasons like they used to.
Yeah, exactly. Like, oh, this fucking Cinderella bitch, bro. She's annoying as hell. Give me over back. But I did see a lot of people on Twitter say like they should extend the season or add it to the reload pool. I think that's probably something that they shouldn't do because like you don't want to have too much of a good thing, right? It's like do 30 days, have people miss it, and then shit, you can maybe bring back the Simpsons season a year from now. Like, hey, we're bringing back the Simpsons season for a limited time week. The map assets are available. You know, you can bring back a week of Simpsons for those Simpsons fans again, and then you get a little spike again. Like, you can always tap into that nostalgia for any sort of show that these guys like. So.
Yeah, I do think the one thing that makes it harder for them to, as you mentioned, Boop, you know, all the different IPs that they could take advantage of. I do think, even though there's plenty of bigger IPs that they would have access to do things with, not a lot of them work in the same way as The Simpsons, where The Simpsons is this universe that has 20 plus years of like, you know, world building, you know, that makes it harder to do. Like I feel like it'd be harder for them to do, I'm not going to name a name because then people are going to roast me in the comments. Like, well, actually, Levin, they'd be so easy if it's like your favorite thing, you know. But one thing I will say is,
that's a good one.
Right, sure, right. But even that, like, I could see them doing something. Yeah. It's weird. I think this is, I think in terms of how I rank this, it would probably be original Fortnite OG, this, and then remix. Just because even though original Fortnite OG was so easy and straightforward, that's sort of what made it so good and effective. Like it was easy and straightforward. And, you know, I think it showed in just the numbers that it did as well, outside of just the player counts, in terms of just the general interest of just the hype and everybody wanting to be involved, how sort of special that was. This I really like because it didn't take advantage of nostalgia, like you guys highlighted, in the same almost cheap way that last year's did. I think last year, them trying to do the whole remix angle was cool, but maybe didn't land as well. Like the whole Times Square shit that they did was like, it was like, damn, like, you know, there's people talking about Fortnite. But again, it's like you said, Boop, it's like the cheap spike, right? And everybody's coming to watch this like Snoop Dogg concert, or Ice Spice as well. Sorry,
we were all there for
Ice Spice name, of course. I mean, I was in New York for Ice Spice, 100%.
If you saw him, you'd be telling the after party stories. We know, guys. The things Levin's been saying about the Ice Spice after parties are crazy.
Oh god. But this, I think, again, is a good blueprint for things that they could do in the future, in terms of building excitement for the game. I am a fan of the Simpsons season. I'm excited. I know a lot of people are excited. I wonder how this leads into Chapter 7, because I think what's more important for me in terms of like the next thing Epic need to clearly figure out is, cool, you can get a bunch of people in for this mini season, you know, going into the next chapter, but how do you then keep them interested in the next chapter? And the transition between those two things. And I think it was your stream I was watching, Boop, again, where you said this, where it was like, I don't know if it was your stream that you said this, but maybe it was. You can take credit for it if it wasn't. And it was something along the lines of like, the Simpsons season is so like colorful and shit. When we go into Chapter 7, it's just gonna look boring. Like they're gonna have to go above and beyond, because otherwise it's just gonna look dull. Yeah. Comparatively to what we have spent the month playing, which psychologically will just hurt Chapter 7 unless they do something else wild to like, you know, really blow our expectations out of the water. So
is this some Epic Games asset manager right now? Watch like, oh fuck,
do you know what I mean?
It's like, guys, we're gonna change up the whole season. Everyone's loving the colors. Like
saturation slider. Just
I mean, I think the
turned up.
theme's like it's kind of like the Great Gatsby-esque, I think. So like it's already kind of a nighttime kind of theme as well. Maybe you can add some color to it, but like, yeah. The problem is with this, and it's what we call the reload issue, right? It's like, how do you back and make it slower again? Like, are we ever going back to like 100-player lobbies or like a larger map? Then the change of pace is going to be a lot slower. And this is something that I've felt with competitive. Like the mid games in competitive right now feel so nice. Like having 5 to 6 minutes of mid game and then going straight into that half and half is great. Versus like the 12 to 15 minutes of mid game bullshit that you have to deal with before, where you know people trade surge and nothing really happens. This is like a refreshing take on competitive, and I know a lot of people disagree, and they will. Actually, the main disagreements people have with the season is mainly movement and also storm surge combined with the lack of like POIs and like loot on the map. So that's not actually the pacing of the season, but you know that's something that I'm slightly worried about. It's like if you're kind of used to this type of things, like how do you go back to it, right? Because I think Reload has effectively killed a little bit of the battle royale enjoyment for a lot of people, because you know your dopamine receptors are hitting.
The past year, if I log on Fortnite, I'm going to play Reload and not be the past year. You know, if I want to play with a friend casually who's not played Fortnite in a while, let's jump on. What are we playing? Reload.
Yeah.
No, let's play. No. We're playing Reload. Like, you know. So it's again. I like what you said there, Boop. The specific word of like, how do we ever go back to regular battle royale if we if we keep moving closer and closer to the reloadification, the TikTokification of VR and Fortnite? It then just gets harder and harder to get back. Have you tried to pull away an iPad from a 5-year-old? It's impossible. You know,
I just sold an iPad from a 5-year-old.
You know, or I have a little cousin who is addicted to her iPad, and sometimes I'm like, no. I'm trying to get her to lock in. Like, hey, like you gotta lock. You can't just doom stare at your iPad for hours. And like, she's not. If I the closer my hand gets to the iPad, the more agitated she gets. It's like, you know, we were just in actually, I'm not gonna say that. You know, it's like,
come on. I don't even know where you were going with that.
I was gonna make a joke about trying to take, you know, like crack from a druggie on the street, you know, like it's just not a smart idea. Yeah, you know.
Hamburg is a great place to do that, you know.
Plenty of options there. But basically, it's like, like the more we go in this direction, the harder it gets to get back. And we might not need to go back, because if it's just better, then we should go for it.
I mean, maybe this is the stepping stone, right? Like the 80 is maybe the stepping stone to that. Is like, this is close enough. Like it feels close enough. Like I don't have to. I don't feel the need to go into Reload with the pacing of the season. If I'm being honest, like I haven't felt that itch to do it one time. So yeah, maybe this is a stepping stone. But yeah, continue.
Let's talk competitive a bit. Obviously, you know, things are different, and we've had some meta adjustments. I think they just changed something yesterday. I wasn't paying attention. The blink of it. Yeah, what we thought the meta was did kind of change a bit yesterday. But one thing I was really, really sort of thinking going into our conversation today and moving forward is I really would love to see an effort be made. I just know it's not going to happen, unfortunately, but I would love to see an effort be made on the product side of watching competitive Fortnite in collaboration with this season, because ultimately there is going to be friction from people who are like, no, I don't like this version of what competitive Fortnite is. I don't want things to keep going in this direction. And Fortnite has always been a game competitively that is played more than it is watched, right? Whereas you look at a lot of esports, the product is to be watched and then you might play. Whereas Fortnite's always been, we play and then we maybe watch, right? And with the way the game's changed this season and some of the pace and differences that we're seeing with the combination of obviously how the new Surge works, plus with just a smaller lobby and map, I would love to see like some sort of interesting broadcast or concept. Like let's try a new concept to maybe not necessarily reimagine the way watching competitive Fortnite is, but like let's test it. The fact that we might not get a chance to see how like watching like an FNCS level type competition would be. I'm not saying they should run an FNCS in the season, right? But like the fact that we won't even get to see that proxy is disappointing to me, because it's like, what if we throw on a tournament and have like a proper level broadcast, and maybe we try add some new tool we've never done before, and we're actually all watching it and we're like, holy shit, this is banger. This is way better than what we've been watching the past 4 years of competitive Fortnite. This is actually like, Fortnite is actually better to watch than we all thought it was, you know? Like I'd love to see this attempted now with this season, because we ultimately don't know what we're gonna get going into chapter 7. So competitively, how do you guys feel about the season? Is there potential here for more, for this to be what competitive Fortnite looks like moving forward more often?
Yes. I don't think the 80 players from 100 in the smaller map size is as big of a change to make it seem insane, right? Like map size is like a third of the size of what it probably was. That's probably more like the bigger issue, because one of the main problems that has is that obviously you can play Storm for way. It's so much easier to play Storm, especially with like the power plant you can rotate from, like the that's hard to say. The tire fires, there we go. That you can rotate from as well, with the fact that you can use the Blinky Fish in combination with the Slurpee to like rotate through Storm. Like there's just less area to travel, so you can play like Storm for longer and things like that. I think if they mess with that, maybe change Storm sickness values or increase Storm damage, like maybe one zone earlier or something like that, to prevent that happening quite as much, then I don't think it's that different from what we've just seen in the previous season. Obviously, like I said, there are issues with it, but I don't think it's enough where people can really sit and go, this is a problem, this is really, really bad. It's not like we're going to a 40-person reload map where you literally just go center zone and just wait. Maybe there is a lot of strats of that as well, but yeah, I think there's absolutely potential for this for the future. Obviously, we've had like a single eval cup and some scrims so far, and I've literally watched one game of that before we came here, so I don't have like a huge basis to base it all off of. But yeah, I absolutely think there's potential to keep this style and size moving forward.
So I would say it's kind of hard to evaluate this season because of the new surge. So there's already a very strong incentive to skip the mid game when it comes to the new surge. You look at TP, Cammy, Peterbot. Basically, everyone that did great in the solo series finals, they just sat in zone, they held one gun or revolver, and they did not play the mid game. They just tanked and tanked and tanked and tanked. And it's kind of a similar thing now with this season, because it's still that new surge, because there's so many whites. Up top left, Cletus's cornhole, you have like it's infinite tomatoes. Bottom left, you have a slurp factory that has the tire fire, so you can just rotate to zone. Top right, you have the steamy stack. If you land anywhere else, you can just fish and just have infinite whites to rotate into zone. There's just so many ways to skip mid-game on this map. I feel like it's very hard to evaluate how the games actually play from like a high level, because if you're like a good team, it is not hard to get 200 damage early game and then just literally just AFK the rest of the mid game. And then because the mid game is faster now, 5th being partial instead of 6th zone being partial, you're just coming into 5th zone, 5-5-5, you're stacked, you have more mats than everyone else, and it's just a super easy game for you to play on, get like a top 5 without even getting a refresh, really. So I think it's like a very weird meta for me to like really say, is it good, is it bad? Because we're also dealing with the ramifications of that new surge being in the game. So I really don't have a definitive answer as to whether or not this like new mid game, like being quicker, is smoother or not, if it's better.
What do you think though? What's the like, if you were to hypothesize?
So I've always had a belief that Fortnite mid games need to be quicker. One of my biggest issues with when they changed zones all the way back in the day from being like the traditional zones, like half and half, to what they are now at the partials, was that it went from mid games being 20 minutes long to mid games being 22 minutes long. Was a really bad change because it just slowed down the pace overall. So I think overall a faster paced mid game is good, but I don't know if this is the iteration of it that really works, just because I don't think we've had a chance to properly evaluate it because of how this like new surge works, because the map is so tiny and because it's so easy to play like in zone.
So, as someone with their ear to the ground with a lot of the players, I think the biggest issue these guys have is the punishingness of this type of season, right? So, if you get hit for surge, there's no coming back. If you have a bad spawn fight, you have to reboot, no coming back because there's no loot on the map or third-party loot. If you get out dropped, especially with the new way of dropping, you literally can't swerve off because you're so committed to the dropping that you're just going to die in the spawn fight. I think Fortnite as a game mode, especially if you want the competitive scene to thrive, needs comeback mechanics because not everyone plays the game perfectly, right? Like we can look at the top level and all these pros are doing super crazy things. Cammy's playing Storm, Crazy's doing that, and they're playing the game absolutely perfectly. But 90% of the people, they don't. So they need something to make the game fun and to have like sort of a comeback. You don't really have that with the Simpsons season, which sounds weird, like you have to cater to like the bad players, but you sort of do if you want the competitive scene to thrive, right? Because these guys need to feel like they're a pro player all of the time. So that was the first thing. I think the mid games being too short and the map being smaller is a little bit too punishing for these type of players, even for pro level, as Resub is now frozen. Oh, he's back. And the second thing that's
frozen by your great analysis.
You were shocked by how good it was.
That's a rare Reese compliment in boot, by the way. You gotta say that one.
And then the second thing that's actually an unintended side effect is how you actually qualify for tournaments. Because if you watched Evo Cup yesterday, the points were astronomically high. It was like 270 points to qualify Evo Cup finals for EU, which is top 40 as well. And the reason being is that now that you have 20-minute mid games, there's no room for error. You can play 6 end games out in 2 hours. And if you do that in the 3-hour format, you can play 9 games out perfectly. Like assuming you don't win the games, right? You can play 9 games out entirely. So if you die one time, your whole tournament's cooked. So these are the sort of things that I think if we're going to be doing this in the future, or this is going to be the new meta, is like we need to change up the entire format. Like, do we have to give players more games? Do we have to have less time maybe for these type of open formats? Like, I'm down to have 2-hour opens and have 3-hour opens. I think 3-hour open format is a little bit outdated as well. Like, it's a little bit too much time for people to play. But like, these are both things that I think they need to be changed because you have to have a way for someone to come back in the game of Fortnite, right? Whether it's like a cash or like a mid-game objective they can fight for. There's not really much of that. And like the bosses in Simpsons season don't really provide that sort of relief for players as well to come back in the mid-game.
I think more chest is always the way I feel like that. That's the most rewarding way to do it. Because like I think even the first couple of games I played, I just felt like there wasn't enough loot, even when I wasn't scuffed. You know, I was like, because you're always contested of spawn, I feel like you're always fighting. You've always got low mats. You've always got low ammo. Unless you literally do nothing, if you get lucky, get capped up first. I feel like you're just constantly scuffed if you're taking fights over and over again. So I feel like having more chests than even there is right now would kind of balance out a little bit.
Or hear me out. We have 100% chest spawn rate. It's in reload. Just saying.
What? That's That's crazy. Don't be saying something like that.
We don't have the technology. One observation I've made over my years within the Fortnite community, in specifically the Fortnite competitive community, is that on a watching competitive Fortnite level and a playing competitive Fortnite level, all people have been low-key saying they want without saying it for years is to skip the mid-game. That's literally what everything has been convergent to. How do we skip the mid-game? How do we make the mid-game more interesting? Because this is buns. I don't care about this. I don't want to watch this. Most of the best strategies we've seen over the years in Fortnite history have just revolved around people finding ways to skip mid-game. And every time it happens, in the back of my mind, I'm like, look, the genius. Look, he's such a smart player. He skipped the mid-game, the whole part of the game none of us give a fuck about. And so maybe we should just start optimizing everything we do to skip the mid-game. And then we will land, once we feel good, we will land on the perfect iteration of competitive Fortnite. A completely skipped. You land, you loot, you maybe fight if where you loot is occupied, and then it's just endgame. And we won. That is competitive Fortnite.
I mean, it's funny, it's funny that you say that all the best strats are basically skipping the mid game because you are right. That's like absolutely bang on. Because it's funny, you think this season, playing the Storm with the Blinky Fish, it's literally just kept zone 2 to 5. You get straight into a partial zone. You skip straight away. I do wonder. You know what? Just put late game mode in. Just do late game mode. FNCS late game, land down, random loot. That's it. Just go.
But the problem is, right, is that you can't make too massive of a change. If they just dropped late game now and said this is now compared to Fortnite, people would revolt. Which is why I'm a fan of what they're doing now. You just slowly move it to skipping the end game. Hey guys, it's just 80 players today. Don't ask any questions. It's just 80 players are doing it. Hey guys, the mid games are a bit shorter. We have less zones in the mid games now. Everything, the zones actually move faster. You can't stay in so much long. Hey guys, we're just gradually. This time next year, we're gonna have 4 zones. It's gonna be first zone and moving zones. We're just gonna slowly move closer and closer to just end games, and that's fine by me.
It's interesting though, because most of the, I don't want to say best analysis, but most of the analytical talking points too are just about mid games, because in an FNCS Grand Finals, ultimately that is just the hardest part, right? Like getting to moving zones, capped loot, and like above surge is just the hardest part for like an FNCS Grand Final. And then if you play lower level games, it's the same thing. Like if you get to the 9th zone with like 150 builds in in solo cash cup or something, no matter what elo you're playing, like you've done the hard bit already. Especially in a mobility meta, then you've just got some easier rotates after that, and you're just playing out your mats,
Right.
So I think if we get rid of all that, get rid of the boring bit we're trying to skip, and just get to the fun bit, we can maybe have some more interesting analysis too.
It's such a weird balance because for years, shout out to BloodX, right? For years, he's always says to me the biggest skill gap in the game is just who can just figure out mid game, right? And like who can get through mid game the most efficiently. Which has not been wrong. Like when you look at the players who have been most successful over the years, it's the people who have managed to do that specific thing. A lot of the time, those types of people have had problems either side. In early game, maybe they're bad off spawn, or maybe in late game they're bad at fragging and getting deeper work. But like the best players consistently are just the people who have gotten through mid games efficiently. But that's like the least interesting part. When you look at what we talk about in competitive Fortnite over the years, it has just always been what's happening in early game, what's happening in late game. Those are just the most hype moments. Those are moments people care about. You go get a casual Fortnite fan and you say, Peterbot, best player of all time. What do you like about Peterbot? They're going to tell you him landing on people. They're going to tell you his crazy endgame clutch at global. Like, it's just all stuff to do with endgame and early game. And so I'm stamping it now. Kill mid game. Let's just kill it off.
Get it trending. Get it trending in the streets
again.
Just maybe not that, but shout out to Fortnite, man. Hopefully we can get some cool stuff. Are you guys looking forward to the tournaments, the victory cups?
Yes, I think. Let me. Because I'm not really like viewing parting or anything, so I'm just gonna be basically strictly playing. Firstly, this schedule, the old man schedule, is unreal. I've said already, I saw some pros complaining in the Epic Discord, and I said, no, this is the best schedule. So Wednesday's Solo Cash Cup, right, in the evening, 6 till 9. Then the Duo Victory Cup is 2 p.m. Saturday, and then the Squads is 2 p.m. Sunday. So the only night time we're playing is one weekday, because like some pros are like, I'll move the weekend cups to 6 p.m. And I was like, why you want to have your Saturday and your Sunday night playing a Fortnite Cup when you could just do that in the fucking afternoon?
Because they are Fortnite players who have nothing to do.
I know you ain't doing that shit. But like, I don't want to spend three of my nights playing tournaments when I could spend one instead, especially when it's on like a weekday or something. I can do something else on Saturday. I won't, but hypothetically I can if I have something else going.
You have that option.
Great. Yeah, why not?
The freedom.
Yeah, I have the freedom to choose to do nothing rather than doing the tournament.
In your fucking bed by 7 p.m. on Saturday night.
Exactly, but I can be in bed rather than playing the Duo Cash Cup, right?
I agree that I do like an early tournament. It means more likely uncontested online. So,
you didn't seem as excited about the tournaments.
I mean, I think the tournaments I'm not excited because it's not like a main tournament. I feel like you always want like a main tournament. And the funny thing is, the way it's worked out is the main tournament of the season is an Eval Cup. Because that's the most amount of money you can win from victory cups, right? It's $400 per win. Other than the PlayStation Reload Cup, but we don't fuck with PlayStation Reload Cup. be honest. So like that's I kind of like that you have like one main tournament of the season. Like that's what everyone wants to practice for. That's what they were looking forward to. But there's a lack of that. But I do like the offerings this season. Like the only thing I don't like is the fact we only have one solo tournament. I feel like we could have fit in 2 opens of solos and then the final each week, and then done it 3 weeks in a row, similar to the Squad Victory Cup and stuff. Like there's enough days in the week to justify that if you sort of skip the reload cups or like sure shit them away as well. So that's the only thing that I don't like about it, and I think that's a lot of people like, because okay, I had to call out Fortnite competitive because I asked them on Twitter and they're like, some guy asked them, is there solo victory cups next season? They're like, yes. I'm like, don't fucking lie to me. Say it to me right now. Are you being serious? I didn't say those words. They would have responded, I swear. I was like, tell it to me straight. Is it real? They're like, yes, there's 3. There's not 3 solo victory capsules this season. There's 3 iterations of it. There's 2 qualifiers in the final, but that ain't 3. This is Fortnite I know who you are.
Man, you calling her out?
Wow,
Man, what's this?
Crazy.
Live on air, call her out.
How
Misinformation.
At least, I mean, you technically did lie to me, but like, you kind of baited me into a false sense of hope. Like, I do appreciate it though. Don't keep applying.
Yeah.
Well, they didn't reply to me, so I was quite upset.
I did
because I said, all right, you keep waffling about all these cups that are coming that we all know is happening anyway. Where's the rank 2.0 you guys promised us at Globals? When's that coming? Maybe if I shout about this more, Harry will finally show up because we know how much he likes talking about rank.
TS is going to vanish and then Harry will
just going to Harry slowly fade in.
Where's rank 2.0?
If we don't get that whole rank 2.0 shit they were promising us at Globals for Chapter 7, like the launch of that, then we are cooked. Like where's rank 2.0? They didn't reply to me on that. They should have just said, hey, soon, or Chapter 7.
I mean, they said 2026 though, did they not?
Yeah, in 2026. That's early.
Bro, this is the perfect time to launch a ranked mode, the start of the new chapter, you know? Anyway, sorry.
I don't feel like they're that far ahead on it. Like, obviously, we can't say we've been contacted about it, but like, I could say I haven't been talked to about it at all. Like, any sort of input asked about it. So,
I definitely haven't.
Yeah,
I haven't either.
Me neither.
Okay, so like,
which worries me.
If we're all telling the truth, which I'm assuming we are, we obviously can't say. I mean, I guess you could technically say.
Nah, if I'm not gonna lie, I'm NDA'd about a lot of things. But if someone had reached out to me about it, I would say like, "Hey, I've not spoke. I feel like rank 2.0, they were just like, "Hey, we should do a new ranked," and someone's like, "Yeah, announce it." And they were just like, you know, like, it's like, "Oh, so what are we doing for the new ranked?" I'll figure we got
2.0 guys.
So, like, you know? that's usually like a pretty good indicator of progress because like. I'm not saying we're like important here, but like, they do always involve members of the community. Like they've done a very good job, at least in the last 6 months, of involving people like us that, watch and experience the game on a daily basis to give their 2 cents on it or like a feedback on the system. So that hasn't happened yet. I don't think it's coming out anytime soon. Or they just said, fuck these guys. They don't know anything what they're saying. We heard what they're saying on the podcast, and we're just going to run it ourselves and hopefully fix it later on.
They keep giving us really bad analysis. We implement it in games and it doesn't work. Well, what's this?
Americans dying. This podcast is nothing.
Maybe that's why Harry's not here. Maybe Harry has started a new job at Epic Games as the director of ranked
2.0
in Fortnite. Yeah.
When it drops and it's not good, blame Harry.
Honest.
Yeah.
One other thing, I didn't actually. I was going to say, I said the scheduling for the cups is great. That's one thing that's great. Obviously, I love that. Keep doing that. That's great. The fact that everything is a victory cup is a little boring, right? Especially what Boop said about the solos. Like the fact that there's 2 weeks of opens into one finals. Like everyone's looking at that going, that's almost definitely just because of cheaters. Like that makes sense. But then the duos and the squads are just the old format where cheaters can still win. And I guess the theory, so no one's spoken to me about this, but is that, there's the new thing, if you play with a cheater, you get banned for like, longer periods. So I guess they're thinking, well, people will be put off to try and win in the duos and the squads by the fact that they will be banned, whereas if in the solos, won't. So that's the way I look at it, and I think that's probably why they've done this the way that they are. But still, I'm like, I'd rather just play 3 solo victory cups with some cheaters for $100 each. I'll be honest. Like, I just think that's I think that's better for everyone rather than having this odd format where it's 2 weeks of opens into then still just like a 1 hour finals with 3 games anyway. And I think maybe if one of these was more just like a normal cash cup, right, like maybe the duos, like that main mode, was just like a normal cash cup rather than a victory cup, I think that would be better as well. But I do love the addition of the squads victory cash cup again. That's one of the most like best or just worst tournaments you ever play. It's obviously just for fun. There's like, it's not like a super competitive one at all. It's just like you either have the best time or you have the worst time. There's literally no in between.
Yeah. You're in for a shock though when you get a full squad of cheaters, mate.
Oh yeah, but like
the
thing is, I don't care that much about it because obviously I'm not earning anyway. And if I die to cheaters, I'm gonna scream about it in the moment. I'll be like, oh, it is what it is. I would have lost to these people if they were good players anyway. So you know,
sure.
Yeah, fun tournament.
Okay, who's your squad? You got a squad?
Don't know yet. Made a tweet. Might ask some NA pros. But then it's early, so there's literally zero chance they're going to be awake.
Yeah.
So.
You think NA Pro is going to be awake at 9 a.m. their time?
Exactly.
No
that's what I was going to say. So I have to find someone.
Well, actually, there will be some awake at 9 a.m.
Yeah, they want to go to bed yet.
Exactly.
I thought disrespectful times I was tagged in your tweet. I can't lie. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I mean, I've never played with you.
I am like exactly. I wouldn't play with you. Like, it's like a monument.
Oh wait, you wanted to play with them and they didn't.
No.
Yeah, he did. He DM'd me and he was like, "Guys, please."
I did not DM you.
He did. I saw it.
Files, bro. No one fucking DM'd you, mate. Send the screenshot.
Damn. Oh. All right. Last thing before we wrap up today. Last thing. The best player of all time is quitting the game. How do we feel about it? Peter Bots announces retirement from the game. Is it just mini season blues, or should we be concerned that our GOAT is fading?
Queen's fading. I think it's a bit of both. Like, I think this is something a lot of like I don't want to say like athletes because people hate when you use it with athletes when it comes to like
it's a slur when we're in the gaming community. I mean, you can't be saying that.
But like, dude, they can't even run a mile. But like, and a lot of athletes go through this, especially when you're at the top for so long. When things don't really go your way, that can be like a bigger punch to the gut than with a regular person competing, right? It's like if you're so used to winning and then things go maybe slightly worse, like you can say that Peterbot like didn't try last season, right? But at the same time, when you queue into a tournament, you're always trying. You're not like half-assing your aim in an end game or something like that, right? So like you can say that someone doesn't scrim as much or VOD reviews, but like you can also say like maybe it's not as easy to come through and to win as it used to be, right? I mean, looking at globals as well, like I think went wrong. Like that has to be demotivating for someone that's only used to winning and using to be at the top. So I think there's some truth in like there's some value there in saying like, yeah, maybe he's just burnt out because like it's not as easy to win anymore, or like he's not feeling that sort of same dominance. And like life is good at the top, but like when you fall down a little bit more, maybe it's a little bit more demotivating, and maybe you just don't want to grind to get back at that point again. I'm not saying that he probably wouldn't fucking dominate NA again if he put a little bit more effort, but having to put in that effort again might be just a little bit more demotivating. And also like the game's been his life for the last like 3 to 4 years or whatever, right? Like non-stop on it, probably stopped social things as well. The man wants to spend his millions now. So I think it's valid for him to have a bit of a break and to take some time off. So
he wants to spend the 100K he made in 4 weeks from streaming.
Yeah, he's been talking about that. I watched his streams like, bro, guys, I made 100K last month for Twitch.
Yeah,
he's mentioning every single time.
So I would say on top of that, it's also just about like tempering expectations because he still was grinding last season. Let's not get it twisted. He still was playing every single EU Div Cup with either Acorn or Rise. That's not something that like someone does that isn't grinding. He was still playing every single West Div Cup with like Fact City or Frantic. He was playing basically every tournament. He was grinding solos. He then in solo series fully learned the meta and played the meta, even though it was boring, only holding Revolver. He still truly does care about like how he places. It's just his dominance and his all-time great run that we're never going to see again was largely enabled by it was the perfect seasons after seasons for him to dominate. Kept having mythics, kept having these medallions, just kept having all these items he needed to just have such an advantage over the rest of the lobby where he didn't really have to IG out. He like always had a forecast tower. He would have Raftco and be able to scan people to find solos to get refreshes when he had a bad mid game. He would have an island to just be able to his pad into like the partial zones. He didn't really have to IGL that much way back when he had that godly duo run. And now in metas where there aren't those broken exotics, there aren't those broken medallions, he's still the best player, obviously, but he's not the best IGL. And so that's leading to him not having as dominant a run. And I think in a way he's trying to like set up that like sort of just tempered expectations where it's like, guys, I'm not going to be trying as hard. Like, don't like have as high expectations. All of this when it's like he's still grinding, he's still learning the meta, he's still like obviously deeply cares. But I think he knows that if there isn't the medallions, the exotics, all these things, it's impossible to have a run like he had 2 years ago.
Yeah, I also think there's a lot of speculation, right? All of us what have said, you know, if we talk about mythics, medallions, obviously they help a lot, but I think also, you know, from listening to what he said he wasn't grinding up until globals, and then after globals he started grinding like crazy again, and now he stopped, right? So you have like a window of, okay, I'm actually locking in and doing what it is. And if you look at the placements during that time, it's like, yeah, he was just shitting on everyone. Like he won the solo series, he won 2 of the qualifiers, he won 2 of the div cups out of the 6, I think. I think then the other ones were maybe a little stinky on top of that as well. So it's like, you know, obviously we're comparing it to a run where, you know, you win every FNCS and globals, but like, if by his own admission, whether that's true or not, or whether it's cope, I'm going to grind, and then he wins, you know, 50% of the cups or whatever it is, including the biggest one of the season, or at that time, you go, okay, well, he obviously, there's nothing to do with like the capabilities or whatever. Realistically, it's like a new season drops. Is he interested in it? Has he burnt out from that 1 or 2 months of grinding there? Does he want to keep going? I think it's more just to do with nothing to do with like the actual placement side, because I think he's proves that if he just puts the work in, he can do that. I think it's more, do I want to keep doing this and keep having this effort going forward? Again, it's all speculation, so we don't know. My real speculation, the heater analysis of the moment right here, is that this is the first season where Pete has not had a high structure damage shotgun.
Wow.
Outside of last
wow.
OG. You know, Pete has been the king of Gatekeeper and of Sentinel. Maybe he's the Sentinel's gone, and all of a sudden, oh guys, I don't want to play this season anymore.
Leave the football before the football leaves you. I see where you're going with this. You might be onto something.
Nah. In all honesty, I don't know. Maybe it's just like, there's no big tournaments this season. These look shit. I don't want to play this. Literally, I think that's for the most part. You know, Pete loves money, obviously, too. There's no tournaments where he's going to be winning 10K, like on the solo series to grind for. So he's like, I'm just going to take a break. That's my theory. You know, not asked him, but ultimately, Chapter 7 starts. FNCS is back. We're just going to see the same thing happen again.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure he said this already, and then like the next season he played like 600 games and won or some shit. So yeah, we're not worried about Pete right now.
Is NA cooked if Pete does just stop playing? Is
yes.
Like,
no.
Going fucking region of all time then, or what?
As the representative of NA, we did even win opens of the Eval Cup yesterday. It's over for us. It's over for us. If Peterbot quits, our only hope is Acorn and Bolt being uncon and land. We're over. Our region's over. We're retiring. Our entire region. Who won
yesterday?
Nathan and Axforce won NA Eval opens yesterday.
It's over for our region. It's actually over.
Wow.
And by the way, we were the ones who were getting into a debate about why NA East coming back would be horrible for NA.
Yeah.
Sorry. It was a conversation I was having with Venno on stream. I was on Venno's stream, and you know, people were like, "Oh, NA East coming back," and we were both like, "Guys, you NA fans need to chill. This is going to be bad for you.
Okay,
you're just going to see EU names on your leaderboards."
In NA's defense for that Evo Cup, EU has always been better at learning new metas, and the meta shifted between the EU Eval and the NA Eval.
For sure.
Blinkerfish were gone. EU has always been better at learning metas faster because they have to. They don't have like another region to watch, so they've always been better at that. But you're right about East. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna cope about that Eval. EU's just better at learning metas faster.
It's fine. We understand. We won't put you in a compromising position. We know the NA shooters are at your door. You know, yeah, it's fine. Is NA cooked? Like no, but into what you said after in terms of just like, does it just become boring yes, because like when you have like the main protagonist for the past 2 years, when he then becomes, if he was to become irrelevant in theory, it would then be like, okay, well, now we're trying to like, who are we propping up as the people we care about on a week-to-week basis? So yeah, in that sense, yeah, it'd probably be a bit boring. But
here's a question though, right? How long would his legacy last? Say he actually quit right now, okay?
Right.
And then next year, you see a team, a duo, whatever, wins every FNCS and globals, okay? And because then Pete's not there, right? Say, you know, Acorn and Bolts won every FNCS and globals. It'd be a historic run or whatever, right? And you go, how much would you sit and be like, oh yeah, well, Pete wasn't playing? Like, how long would that last for? How long could you actually sit and be like, well, Pete gave up? You know,
a pretty long time.
Purely depends on when he quits. If he was to just quit right now, he's still currently seen as the best player in the world. So if he was to quit right now, it would be, people would be like, yeah, but Pete's not playing, and rightfully so, because the last time we saw him, he was the best player in the world. But if he was to play like the next year and was like mid, and then this scenario happens, it would wear off because people, I mean, it's just like,
yeah, but Pete's not grinding. Then how long that lasts, you know, is the two that you got two.
The longer Twitter exists, the longer it lasts.
basically, yeah. Basically. No, I think if Pete was to quit right now, every FNCS one would be Mickey Mouse forever in my eyes, because Pete's not playing.
And
you know,
too, you know, like,
do you know what I mean? Yeah,
Mickey Mouse anyway. It's still any.
You can win. You could win globals by 10,000 points. Pete wasn't playing, so it's Mickey. I don't care. If Pete was here, you wouldn't have won. You know?
But the Pete comeback's gonna hit like crack, though. Like, imagine he quits for a year, and then the lights go off. You hit the dum Undertaker tone. Pete rises from the fucking ashes, wins everything, dude. Fortnite saved. It's like OG coming back. You know, the Pete live event coming back to
live event.
Yeah.
We didn't have this conversation on the pod, but a couple weeks ago I wanted to bring it up at the end, but we just overran a bit. And I was gonna say, like, now that like Pete's storyline has to evolve now in a way, because what we saw happen with him was he was this guy who was winning everything and he became the Goliath, right? And you had this camp of people like myself who just love watching it because it's like, bloody hell, this is amazing. Then you had a big camp of people who were like, oh, this is getting boring. It's a bit boring just seeing Pete win everything. And I used to always say to people, no, this is great, because now you're rooting for him to lose. And when he finally gets toppled, we're all going to hurrah and celebrate. And we kind of got that moment at Globals when Victor V shits on him in the first game. You know, like, that was like the history defining, oh my God, Goliath, he's fallen, you know? And, you know, obviously they go on to have a pretty stinky tournament. And so he had his fall, in a sense. Like, that Globals was his fall, because he had a great year. He's a reigning champ, isn't able to match it. He was able to have his fall while still being like the best player in the world. Like, people after Globals weren't going, yeah, Pete's done now, right? He's still like obviously just really good at the game. So now there's an evolution, right? So now, okay, where does the storyline go from here, right? So I think in a way, it would be nice to see him almost like take a break, even if it is just the first season. Like, if he just didn't play the first major and he's like, he fake retires, fake quits, then he comes back major 2, plays with some bum, and then just carries them to a win, it would be absolute cinema. So I don't know where the Pete story goes from here, but I am looking forward to it, because there is an evolution now. There's a change. We've seen him be beat, right? Before it was like, oh, he can't be beat, it's done. We've seen him be beat now. Where does it go from here? Who does he play with? How does that evolve? I'm looking forward to it.
Real conclusion, that boy ain't quitting though.
Yeah, he's not quitting.
He's not quitting.
You ain't gonna worry. He's not quitting. He will be there for Chapter 7, Major 1. Fine. So he will be there for sure.
I think he's like the linchpin of like Fortnite competitive, because it's just like the way he plays tournaments is just so good for content. It's the fact that every single NA Grands, if there's a team that's in the running with him, you know, game 11, game 12, they're getting conned off spawn.
Yeah, it's gonna happen.
You never know when it's gonna happen. Like the Grands where Clix, Yamzo, and Higgs almost beat them. All of a sudden, mid-game is spicy because Peter by like half the games is hunting them down, you know?
Yeah.
Like, he really gives like that entertainment value. Like in the third Grands where he surprise conned Acorn last game. Like, the ways he wins tournaments, it isn't like Cammy, where it's like Cammy wins tournaments because he's just smarter, he skips mid-game. Peterbot plays mid game. Peterbot like plays the game in such like an entertaining way where like he is that anti-hero where it's like love him or hate him, like you have to just watch because it's like every single time like there's a team that's like in contention, he's gonna do some just like some crazy stuff to them, and I think it keeps the grand just so much more interesting to a point where if he isn't there, if he isn't in the hunt, it's just not on that same level of entertainment value that it is when he is like in the lobby.
And ultimately, regardless of what you think of the guy, as a character, the fact that he's been able to transcend Fortnite comp in a way that people have struggled to do, like there's value in that, you know. Like when I'm seeing him with all these like, you know, big ass streamers and they're all like, oh my god, Peterbot, and you know, you see all the Valorant kids now are like jumping on his bandwagon and they all want to like get a piece of Peterbot. You know, we've struggled to create characters and people within the wider esports and gaming community that people care about. You know, it's like for ages it's just like clicks, you know, like and that's it. And so now, you know, it's good to have someone else that, you know, people actually sort of care about outside of just Fortnite, and who transcends Fortnite in that like a lot of just people just know Peterbot as like the Fortnite GOAT. It's like how I don't know anything about Clash of Clans or Clash Royale, and I know that Mohammed Light brother, you know, because it's just you get a brother that's just so great at what they do, and it's like, oh, that he's sick. But yeah, long story short, Peterbot's not quitting. You ain't got to worry about that. He'll be fine. He's probably just not going to grind as much this season and go back to winning next season. Bada bing, bada boom.
Probably.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We'll see. All right, guys. Thanks for joining me today.
Thank you.
Thanks, Reese.
Showing up,
yeah. Nobody ever thanks me.
I know.
You know? Nobody ever thanks me.
I will.
We'll see you guys all on another one. We have some fun stuff coming up, which we'll start to dive into with the Comp Awards next week. If you made it to this part of the episode, comment down below.
Kill mid-game.
Eliminate mid-game.
Sorry, eliminate mid-game.
Eliminate mid-game. And yeah. And if you made it this far into the episode, also comment condolences for Harry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
R.I.P.
Better
Harry.
place.
R.I.P. Harry with a heart and a dove. Yeah. All right, guys. Ciao.
Bye.
Bye.